Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH Rebirth of Emperor Yang episode number 18 based on novel. So let's start. It's best to see whether it looks good or not. How do you feel after reading it? Please leave a book review first. If there are deficiencies, the years will correct them. At the same time, I hope you can ask for your recommendation tickets. In the Dark Cave, because of the special prohibition of split cloud wolf, it is like an inkstone thick ink, which is difficult to distinguish the direction. Even with Xiao Yang's eyesight, there is a feeling of no light. When the mind was moved, the strange fire in the body suddenly gushed out of the body surface. The light of Lingtian's fire illuminated the crack cloud wolf cave nearly 100 feet away like day. There are numerous tunnels extending in all directions in the cave. The cave, which has been short of sunlight for a long time, seems a little wet. There are drops of water on the top of the cave. The dense space makes the drop of water slow. Xiao Yang frowned slightly and was surprised at the strength of the prohibition. The split cloud wolf is really good. If he really fights with him in his cave, I'm afraid he will lose if he can't do 100 moves. There is no time to think about it. Once you enter here, the time left for Xiao Yang will officially begin to count down. Luo Jin from the outside will not last long. Even if he has special means, it must be useless under the absolute strength of split cloud wolf. With a flick of his finger, dozens of fire masses the size of his thumb burst out in an instant. Although the fire mass is small, how can the power of different fire be underestimated? In an instant, a wang of clear water beside Xiao Yang turned into cracked and broken rocks. However, the fire group flew inward along the cave with the power of Xiao Yang's soul. Wherever it passed, the hard rock ground was red and cracked by burning, with an appalling momentum. When the fire group flew out, Xiao Yang couldn't relax. When he moved, he flew towards a cave without fire group. During the flight, while exploring the surrounding environment with the power of his soul, Xiao Yang smiled and said in his heart, "Why, after sleeping so long, I finally woke up." Xiao Yang naturally said this to Huori. In a few months, Huori's injury finally completely recovered, and the previous action of Luo Jin also completely awakened him from his deep sleep. When they talked, Xiao Yang also told Huori about Luo Jin. Huori heard Xiao Yang's words and was more grateful for Luo Jin's previous behavior. For Huori, Xiao Yang is his closest person. It is Xiao Yang who created him. Since Xiao Yang has a high liking for Luo Jin, of course, he should follow Xiao Yang's view. During the conversation, Xiao Yang also went deeper and deeper into the cave of the split cloud wolf. The deeper Xiao Yang went, the colder he felt. Just for a moment, there were only 2 fire groups attached to Xiao Yang's soul, which could be sensed by Xiao Yang, but the others had already dissipated in the cave. Outside, Luo Jin and Yunlang are also in full swing. Of course, even so, Luo Jin obviously fell into the disadvantage. With the strength of his 4-star and half-emperor, he could only support Yunlang for 2 hours. However, Xiao Yang was still shuttling through Yunlang's cave. He thought it would take a lot of time, which made Luo Jin worried. If he continues like this, he will hang up before Xiao Yang comes out. I'm afraid Xiao Yang will be doomed at that time. The mind turns sharply, but there is nothing they can do. The strength of Yunlang is really not that they can resist it. Hey, why, I can't hold on. Your companion, let him out. You two may hold on for a while. If you're alone, I'm afraid it's the only way. Luo Jin's breath was uncertain, but the cloud wave at the opposite 100 feet sent out a sneer from the corner of his mouth, and his tone was cold. Luo Jin's pale face suddenly became cold when he heard the speech. With a heavy cold hum, his palm turned over, and a strange astrolabe the size of a palm appeared in Luo Jin's hand. The astrolabe looks ordinary, with mysterious lines engraved on it. In the middle of the astrolabe, there is a pattern like the Big Dipper. The faint fluorescent light flickers, making the whole astrolabe more magical. The internal fighting spirit suddenly moved and his body shape flashed. Luo Jin already appeared on one side of Yunlang's body. The internal fighting spirit gathered between the palms. He shouted angrily in his heart and smashed the astrolabe in his hand towards Yunlang. Seeing this scene, Yunlang couldn't help but move slightly. Unexpectedly, Luo Jin was able to break out at such a fast speed even under such circumstances. The 2 people who came here were very skilled. If they weren't treated well, I'm afraid they would capsize in the gutter. Thinking like this in his heart, Yunlang ignored the astrolabe in Luo Jin's hand. When he reacted, Luo Jin also appeared on one side, and his fierce fighting skills bombarded him with the astrolabe. Although Yunlang wanted to dodge, Luo Jin's bombardment was already in front of him, and he couldn't tolerate what Yunlang was doing. One palm was a conditioned reflex, and he flashed at the astrolabe in Luo Jin's palm. Although it was just a random blow, how could the strength of Yunlang be comparable to that of Luo Jin? With one palm, the world trembled, the void was broken, and the space past was turned into a vacuum. Luo Jin's clothes were close to his body surface because of the strong wind. His skin was tingling with the strong force. Luo Jin didn't dare to be careless when he saw this move. His fighting spirit poured out, and the power of fighting skills in his palm was boundless. Boom! Suddenly, the heaven and earth they set up turned into an endless void. The cold sunshine disappeared in an instant, leaving only endless darkness. The war between them has already entered the void. The vast world can't bear their fierce collision. Real touch, but it's just beginning. Suddenly, in the endless void, a wave of domineering fighting spirit swept away. Luo Jin's thin body was blown upside down under this wave of angry waves. Blood gushed out of his mouth like money. Several ribs in his chest were broken by this wave of angry waves. His coat and robe were broken. The whole person's breath was also depressed to the extreme point. The 8.5-star Emperor's full strength broke out. Sure enough, he could not take it by force. Roar! A painful wolf howl that rang through the heaven and earth suddenly spread from the center of the angry wave. Luo Jin, who was low in breath, was also shocked by this sound and immediately came back to his mind. The muscles in the corners of his eyes twitched constantly, and the serious injury in his body made him feel unbearable pain. However, after the intense pain coming from the strong self-pressure, Luo Jin's pale, paper-like cheeks aroused a relaxed smile. The wolf howl in the sky spread across the sky with great anger, and even the solid earth was rocked by the sound. Xiao Yang stopped in the Crack Cloud Wolf's cave and looked at the dome with a slight frown. Just now, the Crack Cloud Wolf's cave shook slightly, which made Xiao Yang worried about Luo Jin's situation at the moment. Jiyu Lao, please look at Luo Jin's situation at the moment. After all, my strength is limited. I can only ask Jiyu to help me with the exploration. Jiyu smiled when she heard the speech, and joked to Xiao Yang with inexplicable meaning in her tone. Xiao Yang, do you really want me to help you explore the situation of the little guy outside? Huh? As soon as he raised his eyebrows, Xiao Yang kept turning his eyes. He was a little confused about the meaning of Guyo's words. For a long time, Xiao Yang had to solve the current problem first. When his heart moved, Jiyu got Xiao Yang's answer. Oh, yes, that boy's stuff is good. Although it's unrealistic to shake the split cloud wolf, it's enough. Xiao Yang wanted to continue questioning when he heard the speech, but Jiyu turned his voice and said to Xiao Yang, I advise you to hurry up. At the moment, the little guy's situation is okay, but if you delay like this, the outcome will be really uncertain. As soon as Xiao Yang's face changed, he no longer continued to ask questions. When his body moved, he immediately disappeared in situ and quickly went to the experts of the cave. Luo Jin glanced at the cave of the Cracked Cloud Wolf and frowned slightly. Those two things don't seem to be easy to find. Roar. You are timid and reckless. Don't think that with this astrolabe, you can suppress me here. When I break the astrolabe array, I will kill you first. Suddenly, the hoarse roar of Yunlang with endless tyranny and killing came into Luo Jin's ears, which changed Luo Jin's face again. The Taiyi astrolabe has a Taiyi 7-star array, which is specially used to suppress the strength of the opponent. Its power cannot be underestimated. However, this one in Luo Jin's hand is only a common replica in the mainland. It is obviously impossible to completely suppress the split cloud wolf. With a long breath of turbid air, Luo Jin stood up from the ground, his body flashed, appeared outside the astrolabe array, and his face showed a decisive color. In the array, Yunlang could not help but utter a cold hum when he saw Luo Jin's unfathomable appearance, but he didn't believe what means he would have to deal with him with Luo Jin's state of being on the verge of serious injury. But the next moment, Luo Jin clapped his hand on his chest, opened his mouth, and a blood arrow shot out. Luo Jin put it into the palm of his hand. With a little finger, the blood in the palm slipped from the fingertip and moved several times. A palm-sized blood rune appeared in the space in front of Luo Jin. After doing this, Luo Jin closed his hands and his fingers kept beating. One mysterious seal knot was played out repeatedly and integrated with the bloody seal. When Luo Jin finished his action, he had already made more than 300 seal knots. When the last seal knot was made, Luo Jin's palm turned over and one palm was combined with the seal. Suddenly, both heaven and earth were shocked, dark clouds suddenly appeared in the sky, lightning and thunder, strong winds suddenly rose within 100 feet, and birds and animals scattered. Looking at Luo Jin again, his broken clothes and robes are calm and automatic, and his whole body is as full as before, even better than when he reached his peak. At the moment, Luo Jin's strength is already equivalent to 5-star and half Emperor. But it's not over yet. Standing in front of the clouds and waves, Luo Jin's printing formula changes again. This time, the printing formula is powerful. Every time he pinches the printing, a circle of soft water ripples spread out on the space. At a glance, Luo Jin's next means are afraid to be different. The code word is slow. I hope you can forgive me. In addition, it's still that sentence. Please comment. Ask for a ticket. Years have nothing else to ask for, but one word and one vote. Thank you. In the Crack Cloud Wolf Cave, Xiao Yang stood at the end of the cave. The solid rock wall in front of Xiao Yang made him confused. Here, there is no way to go, but the two flames are still going deep along the cave. Is it a dead end? Xiao Yang felt the trend of the two different fires a little, and then looked at his current situation. He felt a burst of depression in his heart. His eyes stared at the rock wall years ago. Then Xiao Yang looked a little moved in his eyes and asked Guyo at the bottom of his heart. Old Bone, can you explore what's behind the rock wall? Jiyu gave a bad smile, but he didn't speak. Xiao Yang also raised his eyebrows. He didn't understand this reaction. But Xiao Yang was such a smart man. In a flash, he reacted. The corners of his mouth couldn't help twitching. He was speechless about the meaning of Jiyu. Jiyu laughed at this, joked a few words at will, and then returned to silence again, which made Xiao Yang quite helpless. Sitting on the ground with his legs bent, the surging soul power in his mind spread rapidly, covering the whole Qinggang mountain. Although Xiao Yang's soul power is strong, at this moment, under such a comprehensive coverage, Xiao Yang can't detect the slightest trace of flame meteorite black iron, so, but it is somewhat contrary to the will in Xiao Yang's heart. Helpless, Xiao Yang's soul power quickly locked, and the two groups of fire that were still wandering were included in Xiao Yang's eyes. The powerful soul power is divided into two, and the environment around the fire group is reflected in Xiao Yang's eyes. Everything is the same. There is no end to the dark and endless cave. We can only explore it by moving on. At the same time, the outside world, in the endless void, with the rapid change of Yin-Ju in Luo Jin's hand, the originally full fighting spirit in his body retreated rapidly like a tide, and the just stable breath gradually weakened during this moment. Between heaven and earth, wisps of naked eye visible heaven and earth energy quickly approached Luo Jin. When it was close to the inch distance of Luo Jin's palm, it disappeared between heaven and earth and became a nourishment for his fighting skills. Luo Jin's fighting skills are obviously good. Even with his strength comparable to the 5-star and half Emperor, the supply of fighting chi in his body also feels a little vain. At the moment, Luo Jin's teeth clenched, his green tendons burst on his forehead, and his complexion was red. His body tried its best to squeeze the little fighting spirit hidden in each cell organization. With the constant pressure of fighting spirit in his body, Luo Jin can clearly feel that his muscles are sending out an unbearable pain at the moment, and the feeling of collapse and weakness also rises from the bottom of his heart. But even so, Luo Jin still endured the pain in his body, forcibly controlled his fingers, and finished the last step. At the moment, Luo Jin is really at the end of the oil lamp. But for the sake of Xiao Yang, the wisp of obsession in Luo Jin's heart will make him insist like this, and then break through himself to a point he has never done before. He can really enter a weak state, drain all the functions of the body and break through himself at the same time. Such a person can be called a hero. If Luo Jin and Xiao Yang can leave alive after this war, Luo Jin's future achievements will not be bad. He can break through himself and endure the difficulties of life and death. How can such people be mediocre? Raw. In the big array, Yunlang immediately became fierce as soon as he saw the yin formula in Luo Jin's hand. With his eyesight, we can see that Luo Jin's fighting skills at the moment are definitely human-level fighting skills. Looking at Luo Jin's hard face, I'm afraid this fighting skill is not weak even in human-level fighting skills. The Yunlang body transformed into a human body once again becomes a Numenon, and the fighting spirit imprisoned in the body also erupts suddenly. When it collides with the restriction in the body, it wants to break through the array. But is it so easy to crack the Tai 17-star array? Although it is not a genuine card, if it really breaks out, I'm afraid it's difficult to break it without consuming 30% or 40% of the strength of Yunlang. When the clouds and waves burst out, the astrolabe suspended in the mid-air suddenly burst out a burst of bright light. Milky white energy lines like fairy silk flew out from the center of the astrolabe and wrapped the clouds and waves. Immortal silk directly passes through Yunlang's body and meridians. Wherever she passes, the fighting chi in her body is absorbed by the immortal silk and turned into a part of her own strength. Xianxi passed the pass and killed the general all the way until Yunlang's fighting spirit was completely sealed in a few breaths. But Yunlang's strength is not weak. Even with the astrolabe, he still refuses to give up. Without fighting spirit, his strong body is still the most powerful weapon. Bang! The sharp claw kept chopping on the immortal silk. The fine silk thread as fine as hair turned into debris under Yunlang's claw, but it recovered quickly at the moment when Yunlang's heart had just raised hope. Yunlang's bombardment was like a giant fist hitting cotton. At this time, the yin formula in Luo Jin's hand finally came to a perfect end. There was no blood on his pale face. There was a layer of crystalline substance on the palm of his right hand, and the fighting spirit wrapped the whole palm. The crystal palm has colorful colors, which looks very good. The crystal clear and bright luster is a girl's favorite. But under the glittering and translucent luster, around the crystal palm, a series of visible space cracks appear. Even the space around Luo Jin can clearly see waves like water waves. Luo Jin pointed the palm of his right hand at Yunlang from afar. The powerful force made the already shaky space around his palm fall apart in an instant, and his powerful power was close to the sky. The dim eyes stared at Yunlang hard, the palm of his right hand gently pushed forward, and a dry word came out between his colorless lips and teeth. Silent palm. The light 3 words spit out, but suddenly the world shakes and the wind and cloud rises. The crystal palm like a handicraft falls off from Luo Jin's palm and floats towards the clouds and waves. When the palm flew out of Luo Jin's palm, all the media between heaven and earth seemed to be absorbed by it. Although the wind and cloud swept the heaven and earth, they didn't hear the sound of wind and thunder. Even Luo Jin's weak breath at the moment felt as if it had disappeared. The glittering and translucent crystal palm slowly crossed the void, leaving a long colorful tailbelt behind. Such a scene fell on the sky, but under this gorgeous appearance, who dares to despise the glittering and translucent jade palm? Silence, the silence in death. Everything is solidified in an instant. Even the heaven and earth overlooking all sentient beings finally put away his lofty position before the crystal palm. There is only or left. What is to shake heaven and earth, what is to annihilate all sentient beings? The current scene is to be able to interpret 1 or 2 truths twice. At this time, the clouds and waves in the array finally calmed down. It's not that he was intimidated by the prestige of the silent palm, but after all, what he stood in front of him was a real human-level fighting skill. Even with his strength, he couldn't have the slightest carelessness. The whole body turned sideways as far as possible. Without fighting spirit, he cracked the terrible flesh of Cloud Wolf, which can resist this terrible blow. Boom! A roar that shocked the world came out of the endless void again, mixed with the roar and scream of the cloud-splitting wolf, which sounded quite sad. Large tracts of blood came from countless immortal silk. Waves of powerful and unmatched air waves swept away from the explosion center. Luo Jin's shaky body was blown away under this attack, just like a broken kite falling to the ground. Life and death are unknown. And the pain whistling of the split cloud wolf that rang through the sky finally dissipated, exhausted and trapped in place, slowly recovering. In the crack cloud wolf cave, a palm-sized human flame shuttles rapidly through the spacious cave. The dark cave seems to have no end. Even at Xiao Yang's speed, after shuttling for nearly an hour, it is still fruitless. Just when Xiao Yang was impatient with this, at the end of his sight, a dark stone wall reappeared. Seeing this, Xiao Yang frowned deeper, and a touch of impatient color flashed from the bottom of his eyes. He also wanted to step back and check another strange fire. Hey, why, without my guidance, you don't even believe your eyesight? Suddenly, the voice of Guyo's words full of teasing rose from Xiao Yang's heart again, which made Xiao Yang want to recover his soul power. There was a flash of light in his eyes, and his eyes looking into the depths of the cave also changed. The body formed by different fire gradually approached the depths, but for a moment he had come near. No matter how you look at the dark stone walls and rocks, they are all integrated with the mountain. How can they hide other things? Xiao Yang frowned lightly, but he would not doubt Jiu Yu's words. Since he dared to say so, there was absolutely his reason. Without more hesitation, Luo Jin from the outside world has no support. He can't have too much hesitation. No matter what the result is, he must see what is behind the stone wall. The power of different fire is naturally unmatched. No matter how hard the rock wall is, It will melt immediately like the cold ice of fire before different fire. Xiao Yang, who was frozen by different fire, struck out a pair of huge fists of fire madly. Although it is not the body, different fire is different fire. The power of heaven and earth cannot be shaken. The seemingly mediocre fist makes the whole mountain of Qinggang Mountain tremble. Under the bombardment of Xiao Yang's fist after fist, the mountain rocks that had been bombed by Yunlang and Luo Jin successively collapsed like ripe wild fruits on trees and rolled down the mountain. With Xiao Yang's rapid bombardment, in a moment, the thick rock wall was forced through by Xiao Yang. However, at the end of the rock wall, a solid light curtain blocked Xiao Yang's way. Don't think too much. Xiao Yang can understand the reason. No wonder he can't find it no matter how he looks. The means of Yunlang is indeed the most people Xiao Yang has seen in his life so far. This seemingly thin layer of light curtain is supposed to use Xiao Yang's current strength. If you want to completely break it, you will have to work hard. But the current situation is like this. Xiao Yang can't make more preparations. If he wants to leave alive, he must go all out. The golden flame's eyes suddenly brightened, Xiao Yang suddenly grasped his fists, the power of different fire condensed on his right fist, and the strong and domineering smell of different fire spread rapidly. Everything around became hot in an instant. After a crisp sound, the dark rock wall burst out in pieces. The atmosphere in the whole cave suddenly rose to the top in an instant. 8-pole collapse, explosion, boom. With a violent drink in Xiao Yang's heart, the huge fist of fire crashed into the light curtain in front of him, and circles of ripples like water waves spread rapidly. The strong strength made the whole Qinggang Mountain shake 3 times. Click. With a crisp sound, Xiao Yang's huge fist of fire was deadlocked with the light curtain for a long time, and the single light curtain was finally smashed by Xiao Yang, exposing the things in it to the air. At first glance, Xiao Yang saw a piece of black iron with a length of 3 feet and a width. This black iron is undoubtedly Yang meteorite black iron. When the light curtain guarding this place was broken, the outside world, in the endless void, the eyes of the cracked cloud wolf who closed his eyes slowly opened fiercely, and a sky-killing anger burst out from the depths of his pupils, so that the space in front of him was distorted. Something happened yesterday, so I didn't change it. I'll make it up today. I hope I can win everyone's favor. Maybe you're surprised that there's no Xiao Yang's costume forcing conference here. Before, you couldn't write because you didn't have enough ability. In the future, you'll redo the previous chapters when you have time. Of course, the content remains the same and the plot is better. I hope you can meet your eyeballs. Finally, it's natural to ask for recommended tickets. Comment or something. This is my biggest wish. Maybe no one will read these words, but this is really my only extravagant hope. Please. Flame meteorite black iron. As soon as Xiao Yang saw the thick black painted black iron in front of him, he felt a burst of excitement in his heart. At this time, the huge stone hanging high in Xiao Yang's heart finally fell down. Find the black iron of Yang meteorite, the black heavy ruler can be repaired, and his only missing in the foreign world can be preserved. How can Xiao Yang not be excited? Xian Chongkai carries too many beautiful memories of Xiao Yang, which Xiao Yang can't forget in his life. In those days when Zhuan Chongqi was practicing in Jiamar Empire, he and Yarolaro entered the empire alone, shuttled through the Warcraft Mountains, practiced in the Tagore Desert, and fought in the imperial capital Yunlan Mountain. From the rock gate of Canaan College, 1 foot vertically and horizontally breaks thousands of miles, the flames devour the waves and swallow the heaven and earth, and the Xian Bay in front of the Tianfen Tower stand. 1 foot, 1 person, alone in Zhengzhou, Wind and Thunder Pavilion and Seoul Hall. These are the days that Xian Chongkai accompanied when Xiao Yang grew up. How can he forget? Among them, the badge drawn by Zuna for Panmen has a huge ruler and a green lotus. Even now, in Xiao Yang's eyes, it is like yesterday's scene. Forget. How can Xiao Yang forget, and why? The Xuanzhong ruler was given by Yarolaro himself, and the ruler method was taught by Yarolaro himself. The local level fighting skill Liuhe swimming ruler was bought by Xiao Li, the second brother, who risked offending a 6th grade herbalist. Although the outcome was okay, how can we forget the deep brotherhood? Xian Chongkai is no longer a weapon in Xiao Yang's heart, but the sustenance of his spirit. If he had a chance in the future, Xiao Yang would surely let everyone in Yuanwu mainland witness the glory of Zhuan Chongqi again. This is not a joke, but Xiao Yang swore in the name of Emperor Yang that he would have no regrets in his life. Staring at the black iron in front of him, the body condensed by different fire suddenly burst. With the powerful power of different fire and Xiao Yang's terrible empire soul, this space finally broke up after supporting a few breath. showing a strange space. The powerful soul power condensed into a huge palm in the air and threw the flame black iron into it. What surprised Xiao Yang was that even with his terrible strength, he felt a heavy when he lifted the flame and black iron with his soul power. There was no time to pay too much attention, and the soul power quickly returned to the body. With a flash of Xiao Yang's body, he was already standing in front of the stone wall, clenched his right fist, and the fighting spirit in his body condensed rapidly. With a flash of light in Xiao Yang's pupils, one punch came out. 8-pole avalanche. Break it for me. With a fierce drink, the terrible wind forcibly tore the space. The rock cave walls around Xiao Yang burst instantly. Huge stones fell from Xiao Yang's head. Before entering the distance of Xiao Yang's body, they burst into dust and fog. Boom. Not surprisingly, the rock wall in front of Xiao Yang was instantly crushed into a pile of dust. When it was bombarded on the fighting light curtain, circles of ripples like water waves spread out, but it was not affected at all. Xiao Yang gave a cold hum in his heart and moved. While the ripples had not dispersed, he immediately blew out his fist and bombarded it on the light curtain of fighting spirit. Bang! With one blow, the fighting light curtain was very strong. Circles of ripples continued to spread from the junction of Xiao Yang's fist and the light curtain, but nothing happened. The bearing capacity of the light curtain made Xiao Yang feel a burst of surprise. But the more Xiao Yang can be sure that after this light curtain, it must be Qiu Jing that day. That's right. After all, for the split cloud wolf, the Tianqiu jade essence is more attractive to him than the flame meteorite black iron. Its strength is the preacher of the world. With confidence in his heart, Xiao Yang's actions are even more fierce. His fists are printed with each other. A series of fighting skills are bombarded rapidly, and the ripples on the light curtain are also uninterrupted. Even under Xiao Yang's vigorous bombardment, one wave of energy ripples has not dispersed, and the other wave has overlapped. Between layers of suppression, the light curtain printed by Xiao Yang's fist is finally more and more transparent, and the things are also vaguely reflected in Xiao Yang's eyes. When Xiao Yang was trying his best to bombard the light curtain of fighting, the war situation just stabilized outside finally changed again. Roar. The curfew people dare to take the treasure of my cave. They really want to die. Suddenly, in the endless void, a sound like a startling thunder spread all over the four directions, shaking the whole Lianyun mountain. At this moment, the warcraft, which was already dead and injured countless, burst in the sound of the flood thunder, turned into a blood mist and dispersed in all directions, making the whole Lianyun mountain as bloody as Shura purgatory. The star disk above the cracked cloud wolf's head also exploded with this impact. The fairy silk that bound the cracked cloud wolf also turned into a little starlight in an instant, obviously between heaven and earth. On the ground, Luo Jin, who was recovering cross-legged, suddenly opened his eyes. Seeing that the split cloud wolf broke away from the shackles of the astrolabe, his heart couldn't help tightening slightly. Xiao Yang was exposed after all. However, Luo Jin didn't think much. After all, Xiao Yang has been in the cave for so long. If the split cloud wolf hasn't been found, it can only show that the split cloud wolf is too stupid. Standing up, Luo Jin turned his palm, and a pill the size of a longan appeared in his hand. He glanced at the pill in his hand with pain in his heart. Luo Jin couldn't help but smoke at the corners of his mouth. Obviously, this pill is not vulgar, otherwise it won't make Luo Jin so heartache. Heartache is heartache. The current situation is that you can't die. If a person dies, what can this pill do? As soon as you put the pill into your mouth, the pill melted into a very gentle energy and instantly invaded Luo Jin's whole body. Several broken ribs in front of his chest healed quickly with the naked eye. The injury in his body also gradually recovered under the power of the pill. Although the pill worked quickly, Luo Jin didn't feel any discomfort in the process. This pill is really different. Roar. Feeling the breath of continuous recovery in Luo Jin's body, the cracked cloud wolf suddenly gave a fierce roar in his mouth. His body moved, and he rushed to Luo Jin. He also knew that if he couldn't solve Luo Jin first, I'm afraid he couldn't stop Xiao Yang's intention. Drink. 8-pole avalanche. Break it for me. In the crack cloud wolf cave, before the dim fighting light curtain, Xiao Yang suddenly burst out a roar in his mouth. The fighting spirit in his body rushed into his fist, burst out with a bang, and the solid light curtain was finally smashed by Xiao Yang. After the light curtain, there is another spacious cave, but the difference between this cave and before is that what stands in the middle of the cave is a strong demon flower. The demon flower is crystal green and looks like emerald. A huge flower with strong aroma stands at the top, and its thick roots are deep underground. A stream of pure heaven and earth energy flows slowly up from its roots, and then disappears in the demon flower. Hehe, good boy, it seems that you are really lucky. With this thing, it is inevitable for you to break through the 3-star semi-emperor, and you can't be wrong. After absorbing its power, you can be stable in the middle of the 3-star semi-emperor. How about this temptation? It should be enough for you. Suddenly, the spooky ridicule words of Guyo came out from Xiao Yang's heart again, which made his face look a little changed. 3-star half-emperor, this temptation is not big. You know, once the strength enters the half-emperor level, it is even more difficult to break through. Judging from Xiao Yang's current situation, if you want to break through to 3-star half-emperor without the help of foreign things, you may not be able to do it in a year or two. At the moment, a demon flower has solved Xiao Yang's cultivation time of 1 or 2 years. How can this make him not excited? When he moved, Xiao Yang flashed forward, and his fire orn flashed. A dagger condensed from different fire appeared. When he waved his arm, Xiao Yang wanted to cut it off with a knife. Cut it. I want to see how the Q demon flower was destroyed by you. The sword was still falling, and the voice of Jiuyu's words full of inexplicable meaning came again, which made Xiao Yang's actions a little bit. Seeing this, Jiuyu changed his tone, looked unfathomable, and said leisurely. The Tianqiu demon flower was originally a kind of Tianqiu flower, but it grew on the Tianqiu jade essence, took root in the Tianqiu jade essence, and swallowed the heaven and earth aura in the Tianqiu jade essence for a long time, resulting in its variation into this shape. If you want to take it off, you need to use brute force to forcibly pull out the Tianqiu demon flower and Tianqiu jade essence from the soil, and then cut off its roots. Only in this way can it be refined perfectly. When Xiao Yang heard the speech, he dared not neglect it in his heart. His body flashed. He had come to the demon flower. He suddenly gave a violent drink in his heart. Then his body changed in an instant, and the body of Vajra glass came out again. In front of this strong body, the original strong demon flower also looks like a small tree at the moment, which can be shaken by a little force. Grasp the demon flower with both hands, and a great force in the palm suddenly spread to every inch of the land in the cave. Drink. The rumbling sound spread in the cave, and the fierce force contained in the invisible made the rock walls of the cave break. Under Xiao Yang's great power, the earth around the demon flower has cracked a wide crack like a spider's web, and the roots of the demon flower are also faintly visible. Bang! With a bang, Luo Jin's body flew out of control, and then smashed into a towering mountain. The mountain burst under Luo Jin's collision, and the huge stones shot away to the horizon and disappeared immediately. It can be imagined that the strength of Luo Jin's attack is so great. Cough. Struggling to get up from the ruins, Luo Jin coughed violently for a while, and the big mouth of blood was sprayed out as if it didn't need money. Vaguely, some blood-stained residue could be seen. Obviously, it was the broken internal organs in Luo Jin's body. With a little effort, Luo Jin looked up at the clouds and waves above the sky. Luo Jin also felt powerless. The 8-star and half-emperor really deserved his reputation. With his strength of 4-star and half-emperor, he was still too poor. Although he was helpless in his heart, Luo Jin couldn't help raising his pride when he thought that Xiao Yang was still in Yunlang's cave. With his fists clenched, Luo Jin's body trembled slightly and stood up. Invisibly, Luo Jin broke through himself again. His will is indeed a more terrible thing than strength. At the moment, Luo Jin's body seems to be full of strength. His hands are folded. All the fighting spirit that has been squeezed out of his body is transferred away. Dark lights are emitted from him, and an surging meaning is quickly spread. Looking at Xiao Yang again, under his terrible power, the Q demon flower was pulled out unexpectedly. Sure enough, at its root, a palm-sized emerald green stone was being wound by countless roots, and a pure heaven and earth energy was sent into the trunk of the demon flower along the roots. He took off the jade essence of Tianqiu. Xiao Yang's heart was stirred slightly, but he was forced down by Xiao Yang. Such a treasure is absolutely false to say that he is not excited, but Xiao Yang is also a generation of Yang Emperor after all. At least, he still has the ability of self-control. Xiao Yang naturally won't get involved in what he promised others. This may be the reason why Xiao Yang has been able to help since he became a man. Hehe, it's good. Look at the fineness of this Tianqiu jade essence. Compared with its survival time, it has not existed for 3,000 years, but it should still exist for 2,700 years. Xiao Yang couldn't help but move when he heard that as long as Luo Jin could find an opportunity to refine the Q jade essence of this day, wouldn't he say that he could forcibly improve the strength of the 5 stars? It's such a treasure. No wonder the defense of the outside world would be so powerful. Hey, don't think so much, 5-star strength, maybe. Without waiting for Xiao Yang's look to change, Guyo continued to say, the reason why the Q demon flower has been able to grow up to now is because of the Q jade essence. Most of the power of heaven and earth has already dissipated. Even if the boy has refined and broken the sky, he will reach the quasi 8-star and a half emperor. I'm afraid it will be difficult to advance unless. At this point, Guyo stopped talking and sent Xiao Yang a few words at will, so he stopped talking, and Xiao Yang also set his eyes on the Q demon flower that day. This video will end here.